Is it healthy for older men to masturbate, especially after retirement, when routines shift and emotions can feel heavier? You might be surprised to hear this, but the answer is yes. When done in a balanced and mindful way, masturbation can be a powerful form of self-care for men over 60. I'm Dr. Serena, and after years of listening to men in their 60s, 70s and beyond, I've seen firsthand how this often taboo topic can deeply affect mental, emotional, and even physical health, from reducing stress and improving sleep, to keeping the prostate healthy and boosting confidence. Yes, solo activity can serve your well-being. But there are also important caveats. Too much, done for the wrong reasons, or ignored when health signals show up. That's when problems start. In today's video, we're going to explore the real benefits of masturbation in later life, the risks you need to watch for, and how to find the right rhythm that fits your age, your body, and your emotional needs. Because growing older doesn't mean giving up on intimacy. It means learning how to connect in healthier, more self-aware ways. If this topic hits home for you, or for someone you care about, stick around. You might walk away with a whole new perspective on aging, intimacy, and your own body. And if you want more honest health conversations made specifically for older men, don't forget to hit subscribe, turn on the bell, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's get started. One of the most underrated yet powerful benefits of masturbation in older men is its impact on emotional well-being. As we grow older, stress doesn't magically disappear. It simply shifts form. It may come from loneliness, grief, health anxieties, or even just the loss of routine after retirement. But here's the good news. Masturbation can be a gentle, accessible way to reduce that tension and bring the body back into balance. You see, during climax, the body releases a wave of endorphins and oxytocin, two neurochemicals often called the feel-good hormones. These naturally help lower stress levels, reduce anxiety, and promote feelings of calm. Oxytocin, in particular, has been shown to reduce cortisol, the hormone responsible for chronic stress. For older men, whose days might otherwise feel monotonous or emotionally heavy, this release can serve as a valuable form of natural relief. Mr. Allen, a 70-year-old widower from Oregon, shared something honest and deeply moving during one of his routine health visits. "After my wife passed," he said, "I didn't just feel lonely, I felt disconnected from my body. I wasn't sleeping, I was tense all the time. But one night I allowed myself to reconnect physically. I wasn't chasing pleasure. I just wanted to feel human again." Since then, Mr. Allen says that a quiet moment of solo intimacy once or twice a week has helped him sleep more peacefully and feel less anxious. "It's not about sex," he added. "It's about relief, about presence, about letting my body exhale." His experience isn't unique. Many older men report that masturbation, when approached without guilt or shame, becomes a way to self-soothe, regulate emotions, and even restore a sense of calm, control over their lives. So, while it may feel like a taboo topic, the truth is that masturbation can be a safe, deeply personal way to care for both your mental and emotional health, especially when so many other forms of stress relief may no longer fit your lifestyle or energy levels. And that leads us naturally to the next benefit: how this simple act may also help maintain physical health in ways most men don't even realize. Let's keep going. Beyond emotional balance, regular masturbation can also play a surprisingly important role in maintaining physical health for men over 60. While it may seem like a small habit, it helps keep critical systems in motion, literally. Just like walking keeps the legs strong or stretching maintains flexibility, gentle sexual activity, including masturbation, keeps the reproductive and circulatory systems functioning well into older age. You see, sexual arousal increases blood flow, particularly to the pelvic region. This circulation is essential not just for erectile health, but for the broader vascular system. The penis, like any other part of the body, relies on good blood flow to stay healthy. When that circulation is regularly stimulated, it helps preserve the elasticity of blood vessels and can delay or even reduce the severity of erectile dysfunction, which becomes increasingly common after 60. But it's not just about blood flow. Regular ejaculation is also thought to support prostate health. Some studies suggest that men who ejaculate frequently may have a reduced risk of prostate-related issues over time. It's a natural function of the body, and by staying engaged with it, even in a solo setting, men are often doing more for their long-term well-being than they realize. Take, for example, Mr. Gerald, 73, a retired auto mechanic from Michigan. I don't talk about it much, he shared with his primary care doctor, but I've always believed in staying, active in that area, even just once a week. I feel like it keeps the engine running. His doctor smiled and nodded, confirming that this kind of gentle, consistent activity can indeed support vascular health and maintain function, just like taking a brisk walk or eating leafy greens. For Gerald, it wasn't about chasing youth or performance. It was about staying connected to his body and giving it a reason to keep working well. At my age, he said, you have to remind your body not to shut down, and a little bit of self-care goes a long way. In this way, masturbation becomes less about desire and more about maintenance, a low-impact but effective way to support physical vitality without strain or external pressure. So, if you're wondering whether staying sexually active, even on your own, matters after 60, the answer is yes. It's one of the simplest ways to support not just your reproductive health, but your entire cardiovascular and muscular system. And as we'll see in the next section, it's also one of the safest. In addition to promoting emotional stability and physical wellness, one of the most practical benefits of masturbation for men over 60 is its safety, especially when compared to the potential risks involved in new sexual partnerships later in life. While the desire for intimacy doesn't disappear with age, the realities of aging, widowhood, or divorce often mean that many older men find themselves single again. In such cases, masturbation becomes not just a physical release, but also a safe, private way to maintain a sense of connection with one's body, without the complications or risks associated with casual sex or new relationships. Unlike sexual encounters with new partners, which can carry the risk of sexually transmitted infections, STIs, masturbation is entirely self-contained. There's no concern about exposure, miscommunication, or unexpected outcomes. This makes it a particularly sensible choice for older adults who may already be dealing with chronic health issues and immune systems that are not as resilient as they once were. Moreover, for many, it offers a quiet form of control, a way to meet one's emotional and physical needs on their terms, in a setting that feels safe and familiar. There's a dignity in that, especially for individuals navigating life after loss. Take the story of Mr. Richard, 69, a retired school counsellor from Oregon. After losing his wife to cancer 5 years ago, he spent nearly a year feeling emotionally numb and physically disconnected. It wasn't about being lonely for someone else, he recalled. It was about not recognizing myself anymore. I'd stopped thinking of myself as a man with needs, just a patient, a caregiver, a widower. Gradually, through gentle exploration and self-compassion, Richard rediscovered his sense of identity. It wasn't shameful. It was healing. Today, he says, masturbation isn't about fantasy or escape. It's about grounding. A reminder that his body, though older, still belongs to him and still responds. In some ways, it's the safest way to stay connected to the man I used to be and the one I still am, he says with quiet pride. This perspective resonates with many older men who value discretion, safety, and personal autonomy. Masturbation poses a risk-free method of maintaining sexual health and self-awareness without opening the door to emotional complications or medical concerns. So, while society may still be catching up in terms of open conversations about sexuality in older age, the truth is simple. Safe, intentional self-pleasure is not only normal, it's wise. Especially for those living alone or recovering from personal loss, it can be a powerful and responsible way to keep the body active and the spirit connected. While moderate masturbation can offer meaningful benefits for older men, it's equally important to recognize when the habit shifts from helpful to harmful. Just like any other form of self-soothing behavior, be it eating, watching television, or even exercising, when taken to excess, the very thing that once offered relief can begin to erode well-being. The first major risk to be aware of is overdoing it. Excessive masturbation, especially when used to fill an emotional void rather than respond to physical desire, can backfire, draining energy, interrupting sleep, and triggering feelings of guilt or dissatisfaction. For some men, particularly those dealing with retirement, loneliness, or unresolved grief, masturbation can become a repetitive escape rather than a conscious act of connection. This was exactly the case for Mr. Raymond, a 69-year-old retired electrician from Nevada. After his wife passed away, he found his days long and his nights even longer. It started with once in a while just to help me sleep, he admitted. But then it turned into 3, sometimes 4 times a day, not because I wanted to, but because I didn't know what else to do with myself. Instead of helping him relax, the habit left him more exhausted. His sleep quality plummeted, he lost motivation to go out or socialise, and he described a constant fog of fatigue and irritability. His turning point came during a visit to his primary care doctor, who gently asked about his routines. That conversation made me realise I wasn't in control anymore, Raymond shared. I thought I was comforting myself, but I was making myself weaker. It's important to understand when masturbation becomes compulsive, used automatically or excessively to numb emotional discomfort, it can lose its benefits and even harm your body's natural rhythms. Sleep gets disrupted. Energy levels drop. Your emotional baseline becomes unsteady. And perhaps most importantly, the act no longer feels like self-care, but like a burden or even an obligation. So how do you know when it's too much? Pay attention to how you feel afterward. If you feel more tired than relaxed, more irritable than calm, or if you're skipping meals, social time, or important tasks just to be alone with a habit, it's time to pause and reassess. Masturbation should feel like a conscious, respectful interaction with your body, not an escape hatch from life. This doesn't mean giving it up entirely, but it does mean bringing back intention. Slow down. Ask yourself why you're reaching for it in that moment. Are you lonely? Bored? Anxious? Recognizing the emotion behind the urge can help you make healthier choices, not just sexually, but emotionally and mentally. Beyond the frequency of masturbation, another essential factor that older men must take into account is their overall physical health, especially existing medical conditions that might complicate sexual activity, even solo. One often overlooked but critical warning relates to the presence of chronic illnesses such as heart disease, high blood pressure, or conditions requiring medications that alter sexual function, like antidepressants or beta blockers. While masturbation is generally safe for most older men, for those managing complex health issues, it's important to understand how your body responds, particularly during moments of arousal and release when blood pressure and heart rate temporarily rise. Consider the story of Mr. Charles, 72, a retired accountant from North Carolina who had been managing hypertension and mild coronary artery disease for over a decade. After a period of emotional isolation following his divorce, Charles began masturbating more frequently as a way to cope with stress and loneliness. At first it seemed harmless, but gradually he noticed something troubling. I'd start to feel this tightness in my chest right after, he shared during a routine checkup, and sometimes I'd feel dizzy or a little breathless, which scared me. At first he brushed it off as anxiety or aging, but when the symptoms continued, his doctor ordered a stress test, which revealed that his cardiovascular system was under more strain than he realized, especially during physical exertion, even mild. Charles isn't alone. The challenge is that many older men don't associate solo intimacy with cardiovascular exertion, but just like climbing stairs or lifting heavy objects, it engages your circulatory system. If your heart is already working harder due to existing conditions, even a few minutes of increased heart rate can cause discomfort or, in some cases, risk. Additionally, medications prescribed for chronic conditions may reduce libido, delay orgasm, or even cause erectile challenges, leading some men to increase physical effort during masturbation, unknowingly putting themselves at further risk. Side effects like fatigue, dry mouth, or irregular heartbeat should not be ignored if they appear post-activity. So, what's the smart move? First, be honest with yourself. If you're on heart medication, blood pressure pills, or anything that affects circulation or sexual function, don't assume masturbation is risk-free. Pay attention to your body's responses, especially symptoms like chest pain, dizziness, shortness of breath, or palpitations. If any of these occur, don't wait. Speak with your doctor. It's not about shame, it's about safety. Second, bring it up during your next health visit. Your doctor has likely heard it all before, and their guidance can help you find a safer, more comfortable balance, possibly adjusting medications or offering solutions that preserve your well-being without forcing you to give up this important form of personal connection. While physical health is critical, we must also turn our attention to the emotional and behavioural patterns that often go unnoticed, yet have a profound effect on the quality of life in older age. One such issue is behavioural dependency. specifically when masturbation becomes more than just a healthy expression of intimacy and instead turns into a way of avoiding emotional discomfort or real human connection. At first glance, it might seem harmless, especially for older men living alone, coping with grief, or navigating the quiet spaces left behind by retirement or widowhood. But when the act of self-pleasure becomes the only source of comfort, the line between self-care and self-isolation can quietly blur. Take the case of Mr. Howard, 69, a retired machinist from Michigan. After his wife passed away and his children moved across the country, Howard's days became increasingly quiet and eventually emotionally hollow. He said, "I wasn't even enjoying it anymore. It was just something I did to feel something, anything." Over time, he stopped meeting friends for breakfast, ignored phone calls, and began declining invitations to local events he once enjoyed. "I realized I was choosing isolation without even knowing it," he admitted. "It was like my world had gotten smaller without me noticing." Howard's story is far from unique. When any activity replaces real relationships, community, or emotional expression, it's often a sign of deeper psychological distress. This could include unresolved grief, depression, anxiety, or feelings of worthlessness, which are more common in older adults than many realize. The good news is that help is available, and seeking support is a sign of strength, not weakness. If you or someone you care about feels that masturbation has become compulsive, emotionally numbing, or isolating, it's time to speak with a mental health professional. Therapists, especially those experienced in working with older adults, can help identify the root causes and guide healthier coping strategies without judgment. In the end, intimacy with oneself should foster clarity and connection, not disconnection. Recognizing when a behavior shifts from healing to harmful is the first step toward reclaiming your emotional well-being. Thank you for staying with us through this important conversation. As we've explored, masturbation after the age of 60 is not only normal, it can be a meaningful part of self-care when approached with awareness and balance. Like any health-related habit, the key lies in moderation, listening to your body and being honest about how it makes you feel, physically, emotionally, and socially. And remember, there's no one-size-fits-all answer. If something feels off or you're unsure about what's right for your age or health condition, speaking to a trusted doctor is always a wise step. If you're curious about what frequency might be appropriate for your stage in life, or if you'd like tailored advice on maintaining sexual wellness as you age, feel free to leave a comment or reach out. We're here to support you with honesty, dignity, and zero judgment. Before you go, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a thoughtful, age-specific health video created just for you. If this topic resonated, give the video a like, share it with someone who might benefit, and type "Still Learning" in the comments to let us know you're part of this open, respectful conversation. This is your space to grow, reflect, and reclaim your well-being on your terms.